Okay.
Give an intro.
Can this be the intro?
I don't care.
Okay, guys, so this is my husband, and he is definitely the tech-savvy one of the family. I don't really know a whole lot in terms of computers other than the internet itself and Etsy and marketing. So while I am the guru on that side, he does all of my computer cleaning. And what makes you qualified to give tips on cleaning computers, Mr. Moore? Don't look at me like that.
Well, I spent 6 years in the military as an intelligence analyst, so I spent a lot of times working on computers. I've been working as a tech support agent as well for about 6 or 7 months now. So I build my own computers. I'm a computer gamer. So
And he built my computer.
I built her computer. I built my computer. Built pretty much every computer that we use in the house. So if you guys ever need any help with that, hit her up and she can get with me, and we can see what we can get going for you.
All right, so today he's going to be showing you how to kind of speed up your computer, because obviously internet issues are not something that you want to be having while you're trying to run a business, and everybody, has them every once in a while. In fact, what is the number one phone call that you get working in tech support?
Usually internet not working.
Right, internet not working and internet being slow, which sometimes, if you're not paying for fast internet, your internet's going to be a little bit slow, but there are things that you can do to speed it up a little bit. And this is a video that I actually had a lot of Handmade Alphas request, so we're going to go ahead and zip the screen down so you can see what we're doing directly on the screen, and he's going to show you a couple really quick things that you can do to clean your computer, which I have not done in probably about a month, so it's nice and dirty, and he can show you how we clean it. So, all right, go ahead, sweetie.
All right, so first things first, we'll just cover, if your internet in general isn't working. Obviously, the first thing any tech agent's going to tell you to do is unplug your modem, plug it back in. Usually give it about 30 seconds or so after you unplug it to get it plugged back in.
And what's a modem?
A modem is the box that gives you the internet. Usually we'll either have like a coax cable, like how old TVs used to hook up with the the spinny cable that you hook into the TV. Some of them, if you have a DSL internet, will have a phone cable coming out of the wall that's actually plugged into the back of the modem. I can't really tell you what exactly you're going to be looking for, because it's going to be different with every modem, but usually after you unplug it, plug it back in, give it about 5 minutes or so, and then if it doesn't come back on, definitely call your internet company, because a lot of times problems can be in the actual lines or with the modem itself, but it can be really hard to tell. One thing I can say, once you get it back up and running, or once your modem comes back up, if it's not working, there are a couple tests that you can do on here, and I'm going to show you how to pull this up a couple different ways. The easiest way to pull the menu up that I'm going to show you is if you're on a Windows computer, you can hold the Windows key and press R, and that'll bring up this little box that says Run. And all you're going to type in there is CMD, and then just hit OK, and it'll bring up this little black box. Another way that you can pull that up, if you're using Windows 10, you can just type Command in here, and it'll open up the command prompt as well. I think it's a little bit easier just using the Windows key. If you're on an older device that's on Windows 7 or XP, Vista, something like that, you can do kind of the same thing, where you'll just click the little start button on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, click in the search, and just type command in there, and it'll be the same thing.
And it automatically pops up right when you click enter?
On Windows 7, it can be Windows 7 and earlier. It can be a little bit trickier, but usually if you just type command in search and then hit enter to let it finish its search, it'll usually be the first result, and it'll say command prompt. On Macs, I actually have a little thing I can show you for Mac. This is a website I actually use at work.
The word cheese stick popped up when you typed in CH.
This website kind of lets you simulate different operating systems, so you can go in and play with this.
What is the name of the website? And I'll be sure to link in the description.
Chasms.com.
Okay, so you'll be able to find that link in the description. Go ahead.
But if you're uncomfortable doing something with your computer, you can't do a lot on here, but they have different ways that you can mess around with it before you actually go in and do it on your computer if you're not comfortable with it. So Windows, Mac, Ubuntu, if any of you are using that, I know that's starting to get a little more popular. Different emails, that kind of stuff. But for Mac, to look up some different information, for what we're going to be doing here in just a second, I'll just pull up Mac OS Sierra, which is kind of similar to what most people use nowadays.
So this is basically like a test website, right?
Yeah, this website is just kind of like a test website. Lets you simulate different operating systems for computers. So for Mac, to get what we're going to want to do, we're going to go into the Spotlight search, which is the little magnifying glass in the top right corner. And once you get in here, you'll type network utility in, which it'll come up kind of like this. It'll look like a little radar. You'll open it up, and this is kind of similar. I know this might look a little bit intimidating, but it's really not that bad. So to get what we're going to be doing, we'll go to the little tab that says ping, and I'll show you I'll go ahead and just do Mac since I've got this up. But essentially, you're just going to put google.com in here, change this to whatever number you prefer. I usually just do 50 and then click ping. And what that's going to do is that's going to send, each time it pings, it's going to send one packet of information to Google and wait for a return. And you're just going to be looking for how much is lost there. So once it's done, you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom.
So for newbies, what is ping? Because not a lot of people are going to know what that means.
Well, pretty much it's exactly what I was saying. So you're sending one little packet of information to Google or whatever website you put in there, waiting for that to get to Google and come back. So a lot of the times what will happen is you'll send out that information just the same way as if you were to type google.com into your browser. And so a lot of the times you'll get, say, connection timed out or something like that, and you can see how much information you're actually losing by doing this ping test. So once it's finished, you can scroll down to the bottom of it and it'll say packets sent, packets received, percent loss, and any more than like 2 or 3% loss is pretty bad, and I would get with your or your internet company if you're having that happen. But I can kind of demonstrate that a little bit better on Windows. So if I bring that box back up, for Windows it's a little harder. I'm not a huge fan of Mac, but with Windows it's a little more difficult to use. That's one thing I will give Mac. Their ping tests are a little bit easier. So for Windows, you're just going to type ping in, so P-I-N-G, and this portion right here will look different for pretty much everybody. It's okay. It doesn't really matter what's in there as long as you get the little blinking cursor. So after the ping, we'll put a space, and we'll type google.com in there, another space, and I know this probably looks pretty intimidating, a minus sign, and then an N, another space, and then the number 50, and you'll just hit enter to go. And I'm not going to let this go all the way through. I'm going to pull up another one that'll be a little bit faster. If you just do ping and then google.com, it'll only send 4 packets of information instead of 50, and that's that number we put on the end there. But this is what you're looking for here, is the sent, received, loss. And the percent loss is what you're going to find to be the most important part. Any more than 2 to 3%, that could be why websites are saying that they're timing out, something like that. So
what's the ideal number?
0. 0% loss would be the best. A lot of internet companies consider anything less than 8% to be tolerable, but I'd honestly, any more than 2 or 3%, some websites aren't going to allow you to access them because it's taking too long for your computer to connect to them. The next thing we'll cover, I'm just going to reopen this so it's a little bit better, and we'll have to blur a little bit of this information out because it kind of gives away a little bit of your PC's information. But we'll type in IP config and then just hit enter. So obviously some of this stuff's going to get bleeped out here, but if you're not getting an internet connection and everything, like say you have multiple computers or you have a phone and everything else is working but you have one computer that's not working, what you're going to look for is this IPv4 address. Now, I would say 99% of computers are always going to start with 192.168, and then it'll either be .1, .0, or something like that. And the last number will be unique on every computer, and that'll change. What you would be looking for is if the first couple of numbers were like 169.254, anything other than 192.168, other than some that are specifically set up different, are always going to start with these 2 numbers. And then you'll be obviously looking for if it's showing a default gateway. This is just your router's IP address or your modem's IP address, how you access it. You don't really need to worry about that. If you have issues, your internet company will most likely ask you to log into your modem using that number. But they'll run through with you on how to do that. I can't really show you for Mac. You probably just have to Google for Mac. The tool that I use on here doesn't really show you how to get that information, but I believe it's relatively easy to get. So that's pretty much it for internet stuff. Any other internet issues, I would say you get with your internet company. And if you have any more internet-related questions, feel free to ask us about that. As far as cleaning up the computer, that's the next thing that I wanted to cover. Again, I'll go ahead and cover Mac first. We'll go back to that website. This is for cleaning computers. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Mac, so I don't know a lot about it. But one thing you can do if you use Safari, and also Google Chrome, I think, is the same on Windows and on Mac. So one thing for cleaning that you'll want to do, obviously, just clean your history. I recommend people do that at least once a month. If you have passwords and stuff like that saved, some websites, it will delete those passwords, so just make sure you know your passwords before you do that. But once you have Safari open, you'll just click the little Safari icon up here, and if it's different for you, just let us know, and I can try to get the information you need to get it. But you'll just click Clear History, and then you'll pick how long. I usually just, if it has a forever option or something like that, just select that, click Clear History, and it's gone. And again, that could delete your username and passwords that are automatically saved. So make sure you know those before you delete that.
I recommend just writing them down, but don't save them to your desktop or anything crazy like that.
Nope. If you're going to store them, definitely write them down. Don't store them in your desktop unless you know how to encrypt a file, which I'm not going to go over.
I'm going to assume that they probably don't.
No. So I'm just going to go over a couple of the normal browsers. I think the most popular one right now is going to be Google Chrome. So for Google Chrome, most people, and yeah, we use ad blocker, we're bad people. Most people use Google Chrome, and for this, you're just going to go up here to the little dots, go to History, and let it open up. Click History, and then from here, you'll just, I'm not going to clear it now because I don't want all our passwords and stuff cleared out.
Clear it. Just don't clear my passwords.
It takes a while, so and especially. So see how it has cached images and files and stuff like that. So when your computer accesses websites, it saves some information to allow you to access the websites a little bit faster and not take as long to load, so it doesn't have to constantly reload all the same things. So it saves whatever it can, and that's basically like the cookies. That's a lot of the time login information and security information, that kind of stuff, which is fine for it to store. I think by default, these are the only ones that are checkmarked. I could be wrong, but with Google Chrome, it gives you the option for passwords, autofill data, which is like credit cards.
Your address.
Yeah, your address, like if you order food online, that kind of thing, where it automatically fills it in. So I unless you don't feel safe leaving that on there, I usually just recommend leaving that there. Hosted app data, that can be a lot of different things. I usually don't worry about that. And then media licenses, which most of you won't need to worry about. And then you'll just click Clear Browsing Data. I'd usually just recommend from the beginning of time, unless there's a reason that you need it to be on there. So that's pretty much it for Google Chrome. I'm not going to go through we might do the advanced settings in some browsers later on, but I'm not going to do that today because that takes a bit of time.
If you have a different browser that you would like us to do a video for, feel free to leave a comment because we can always come back and touch up later.
Yeah, and I'm going to cover Edge and Internet Explorer real quick because it doesn't take very long. So Microsoft Edge comes stock on Windows 10. I know a lot of people don't really like using Internet Explorer, but some people, that's all they know how to use, and that's fine. So for Microsoft Edge, you should just be able to click here, and then you'll have all these. This is your favorites, your reading list, books. I'm honestly not sure what most of these are for because I don't use Edge. But for history, you'll just come up here, clear all history, and it's kind of the same as Google Chrome, where it has all the exact same stuff. It's a little more in depth. I wouldn't worry about these. Main ones you'll just worry about are the browsing history, cookies, cache data, and like tabs that you've saved. You can delete or get rid of that one if you don't need that. Internet Explorer is probably the easiest one, and that's what a lot of people are using still. So we can pull this one up. And you'll just go to the little gear up here for settings. And again, if for some reason you have an older version of Internet Explorer or something that doesn't look like ours, feel free to hit us up and we can maybe try to take some pictures of what you would need to do for yours. But you'll just go to Internet Options once you're in that menu. And then you'll just, you can set this to delete it when you close Internet Explorer, which that's kind of up to you. But if you want to set different schedules for stuff, how you want things erased, you can go in here, but that's more advanced, so I'm not really going to cover that right now. And then it says, days to keep pages in history, so if you go to a page, it'll delete it after that many days. But all you got to do is click delete, And it's the same thing as the other browsers. That has everything that you want on here for that. All right. And then one of the last things that we'll cover here.
Well, recycle bin. That's an easy one.
Right, recycle bin, right click, empty recycle bin.
Which seems like common knowledge, but my mom never
yeah.
clears her recycle bin. So
yeah, so there's a couple more that a lot of people don't really think about. Now, when you restart your computer, which for the lifespan of your computer, you should be shutting it off when you're not using it, honestly. You don't need to shut it off multiple times a day, but when you go to bed, just shut your computers off. You'd be surprised how much electricity computers actually pull even when you're not using them.
Guilty.
Yeah, me too. And my computer is a powerhouse, so
it's like bigger than I am.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Not his screen, not his. Well, your monitor's
my monitor's 32-inch. Yeah,
his monitor is curved, but his actual computer, like the tower, is bigger than me. So.
All right. So again, I don't know how to do this on Mac. I can get that information if any of you guys need that. Again, I just don't use Mac. Honestly, I recommend building your own computers if you're uncomfortable with it and need advice. I have references for you if you want that. So the last thing
you could build computers for them.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money. If you got like $1,000 to ship it, I'll build you a computer. So we're gonna do kind of the same thing that we did earlier with the Windows key and R at the same time. We'll bring up this box,
show the other option too,
or search in here. We're not going to do command. We just want to look for run this time, which is pretty much exactly what we did with the control and R, or the Windows and R, excuse me. So once you get that open, this is what I usually have people do. Now, when you restart your computer, you're just going to type temp in here and then hit OK, and this will bring this up. Now, when you restart your computer, most computers will delete this information anyways. I'm not going to delete this right now because I don't know if the program we have recording is using any of that. But you'll delete that. It'll go to your recycle bin. Now, there is another temp folder that a lot of people don't know about because Windows does things in profiles, like how you can have, like if you have one family computer and you have a profile for mom, dad, and the kids. So same box, bring that up. And instead of just temp this time, you're going to type the % symbol. And then, obviously we do this a lot. So this is the temporary folder for usually your profile.
So it says %temp %, no spaces.
No spaces. And then we'll click OK. And as you can see, there's a lot more stuff in here.
You should be okay to delete that. I don't think
the program might be using something. So okay. I don't want to mess it up. If it does, it could crash the software. So we'll make sure if you're doing this, you just close everything first because it does store some temporary data that your stuff can use.
And sometimes when this pops up, it'll come up and it'll say where you can skip the files. Do you want to explain that? Like sometimes it'll say that files couldn't be deleted.
Well, just let me look at this real quick. I'll see if I see anything in here. We could probably go ahead and delete this. We'll, if it crashes, we'll just do this video again.
I don't think that we'll lose it.
All right, so I'm just going to Control A to delete all that stuff.
Or you can grab it and drag it and highlight.
Yep, you can do the same thing this way, or you can click on the top one, hold Shift, click on the bottom one. It'll do the same thing. And then you'll just delete. See how it's going to pull this up. It says action can't be completed because the file or folder is open. That's probably something that a program is using right now. Just click the do this for all current items. Some operating systems it'll say something a little different, but the gist is the same. You can hit try again. If it doesn't work, recheck that and then just hit skip for those, and it'll skip all the ones you can't do. Now this one, if you're not the owner of the computer, I would just hit skip. But this is just saying that this is a program that requires permission. That happens anytime you open a lot of programs. So you can just do this for all current items and continue. Now I will say sometimes your login data for certain websites are saved in here, and like this is going to take a second. Say there was a lot of information stored in there. But it all goes to your recycle bin. Once you're done, empty it.
And that's all just hidden stuff that people don't normally see. They think that they've deleted their history and cleared their recycle bin and that their computer is clean. But there's all these hidden things that most people don't even think to look at.
Let me make sure the software is still running and we're good. Okay, so I think the last thing that I'm going to cover here is just cleaning your computer, because you don't really realize how bogged down your computer can get with stuff. You only have a certain amount of space to store information, and I can probably show you how to do this here. We have a couple of different hard drives, so it'll be a little bit different. But if you just go, your little file explorer, which I think all versions of Windows have that now, just where you can access your different folders and stuff. If you, we might have to blur stuff out on here too. I'm not sure what Windows 7 shows, or Windows 10. So if you right-click that and just go to Properties, this will show you how much space you have. So like this is just the hard drive that has our operating system. We use a solid-state drive, so it's a little faster. But this will show you how much free space you have and how much space you've used. I won't worry about going through all the settings because that's all kind of advanced stuff. So what you can do to clear that, let me see if yours has control panel in here. No, it doesn't. So pretty much same thing we did earlier. Go to this. If you have an earlier version of Windows, if you just click the little window symbol on the right-hand side of the thing there, it should have something that says control panel. It'll look almost identical to what we have. So for us, we have Windows 10, so it's a bit of a pain to get to. I'm just going to type control panel in here. You can also type it in the search box. And it'll open up kind of like this. It might look a little bit different. That's where the view by is going to come into. It might be set to this, where it's going to look kind of like large icons. You can just switch that to category. And then, let's see here, programs, or nope, uninstall a program. And then you can go in here, anything that you don't need, I would just go ahead and uninstall it because it's going to take a lot of time out of cleaning up your system instead of just going through and finding the folders. This will uninstall most of the stuff that comes with those programs.
There's a bunch of games on there that I don't play anymore that can be uninstalled.
Exactly, which I'm not going to go through all of our personal stuff. But you can also go through folder by folder and clean stuff up. Don't delete anything you don't know what it is, or you could really screw your whole system up. Could even just totally brick your computer. But that, I think, about covers it. There are a couple different things I would recommend. That the average lifespan of a computer is only going to be 3 to 5 years. After about 5 years, your computer's probably going to start going slow. There are things you can do to improve that. You can, have the processor swapped out. You can get a new hard drive, that kind of thing. But for most people that don't know a lot about computers, the best thing to do is just get another computer, especially if it's for something like running a business. You might not think that the extra 10 or 15 seconds to load something makes a big difference, but if you're sitting and editing stuff all day or replying to messages all day and it takes 15 seconds every time you open up one of those programs or files, that adds up, and that can add up to several minutes, half hour of your day that you're wasting just waiting for stuff to come up, especially if you're editing videos, pictures, audio. Like we do a little bit of audio editing for these videos. That can really slow you down. So I definitely recommend keeping your computer clean. And if you have any really bad problems like viruses or something like that, definitely go get your computer clean. Make sure you're running some kind of antivirus. Even you Mac guys, Mac is not impenetrable. I use Malwarebytes. That's my personal favorite. They have a free version that you can use. It's just as good as the premium version, except it doesn't monitor your computer live. You have to actually go in and click for it to clean your computer.
So if somebody were to have a virus or they really needed their computer cleaned, who would they contact to do that? Who would you recommend that they contact? Is this like a Geek Squad job, or should they be,
Yeah. So honestly, if your computer gets infected with something that you can't get rid of, or there's nobody that you know personally that can help you get rid of it, it's not going to be free to get it fixed, honestly. Computer repair is expensive. And people like Geek Squad, they do their jobs really well, but there is the possibility of getting scammed and making them doing more things than they actually need to do.
Just like a car mechanic.
Exactly. You go in to change your oil and they need to replace your transmission. So the same thing happens with computers. So just be aware of that. Try to keep your computer as clean as you can and keep it protected beforehand, which can save you, hundreds of dollars in the long run, where a virus fix might only take 5 minutes to get rid of, but the knowledge for somebody to do it could be advanced.
Not to mention they're going to prey on people that they know don't know a lot about computers, especially elderly people, because they know that elderly people have a lot of money. They're going to prey on those people in particular because they know that they will pay, whatever cost. They can think of any cost that they want. So definitely watch yourselves, because I know I have a lot of older entrepreneurs who just don't know any better. So
right. And if your internet's going slow and you're certain it's not your computer, which it can be, Especially if you're using Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi has a lot of limitations. Even your microwave running can make your Wi-Fi slow while it's running. So harass your internet company as much as you need to if your internet's not working. And I work for an internet company. I get harassed all day, but I'd rather them do that and get the problem fixed than sit around for 2 weeks without internet, which can suck. So definitely harass them as much as you need to.
All right. Well, if you guys have any other questions, or if you have any other tech-related videos or questions, feel free to post those in the comments, because I think that we could probably start doing some tech-related videos if I've, since...
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or you want to know how to do anything I can't really do a tutorial on how to build a computer because I don't have mine's water-cooled, so I can't take it apart.
His computer has water inside it.
Yeah, well, hers does too, but
I don't think a lot of people understand what that means, but his computer actually runs with water inside of it.
Yeah, so maybe in the future, if you guys are curious enough, I can save up a little bit of money and I can do maybe a computer building tutorial, but there's thousands of those on the internet already. So, I mean, if you guys want to see it, let us know, and then maybe I can get some, old cheap parts together and show you kind of how to do everything.
Other than that, if you guys just have any simple tech related questions or things that you've tried to Google and the explanation didn't really help you out, or if you just need to see something hands-on that's tech related, feel free to leave that in the comments too. And I think that's about it. Is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, ask her and she'll get with me and I'll see what I can do for you.
All right, guys. Well, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you need more Etsy or internet help tips, and also be sure to grab my free ebook below by joining the Handmade Alpha Academy, which is the best way to get help from him, because you will have access to my very personal and private email where we can talk more, and if you have any particular problems, I can make sure to give him your email as well. That way you can ask him some more in-depth questions. Yep. All right, guys. I think that this is probably going to be the last video of the weekend, so I guess I will talk to you all Monday, and that's about it.
That's pretty much it.
All right, guys. See you soon.
Bye.